you want to talk about? There you go, Brian.
So, this is why I said we need to plan it out a little bit.
Yeah, kind of did yesterday.
Kind of did, yeah. But then we talked about, I can't remember what we talked about yesterday.
Said something about tariffs.
Oh, yeah.
Tariffs, paint.
How I think tariffs might affect kind of the automotive industry. Right. And like kind of what I think's going to go on with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the hard part with anything right now is actually just making a buck, right? I mean, some of the products are already stupid expensive, you know, like on the truck side for PPG, if you're trying to use the Evolution or even Delfleet 1's still around. But if you're trying to use any of that stuff, you're looking at like $1,000 a gallon. You know, and I personally don't know exactly where it's made. I don't know if it's made in another country or if it's made here or we're not.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure no matter where it is technically made, that some of the products that are used in it are more than likely sourced from other countries. I mean, it's just kind of that way in everything, you know. So that's that. And then, okay, so what do I think is going to happen?
Well, before we get there, maybe we should do the introduction, huh?
Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just trying to talk about something. You gave me an idea to talk about it, and I'm trying to make it happen on the spot. Go figure.
Well, my name's Richard. And this is Aaron, right?
Yeah, most of you guys already know me.
Yeah.
Richard, he's the one that's always hiding behind the camera.
And detailing cars, right?
Yeah, detailing cars every now and then. Which let's go into why I even wrangled you into detailing cars in the first place. You ever have any experience with it? You ever do it? Give me kind of like a little bit of background on that.
Detailing cars goes back to, what, 15 years ago?
Okay. So did you do it on the side? You do it for yourself?
Started on the side. Started my own business.
Okay.
Detailing cars. Learning all the wrong things not to do.
Generally, that's how it works when you try to go in business for yourself. You think you know what you're doing, and then you get slapped with, oh, fuck, I don't know shit.
And then I thought I knew what I was doing, started my own little business. And then applied at dealerships, and then conned a dealership to hire me.
Okay.
And then I realized, that's when I really realized I didn't know what I was doing.
Gotcha.
Learned really quick.
Okay.
And then I started detailing cars for the dealership. And then moved on from there and learned all the insights of how to detail a car. And then after that, just kept going and going. And then at the time, I started my own business, kept it going, quit the dealerships, kept my own business going. And then wintertime hit. Slow season. This is before mobile detailing was mobile detailing, though. Okay.
So, yeah, because I know right now mobile detailing, you can actually do pretty well in it. Yeah. A lot of times we've had to try and get mobile detailers out here to take care of stuff. And the biggest problem that we run into is they just don't have time. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're like, yeah, I can do it, but you're going to have to schedule out, 3-4 days a week.
Yeah.
And the problem that I run into here is like, that's great, but I'm already done painting the vehicle. I'm done whatever. I need technically I need the detail done today so I can deliver the vehicle. You know what I mean? Because it's already hard enough to try and line up the schedule on the paint booth, but to then try and line up another company to come in on a certain day to detail a certain car that's supposed to be done, that can be kind of challenging.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's why I pretty much wrangled Richard into detailing the van and getting all that done, was because I wanted to basically show what I believe the correct way of dealing with a customer's vehicle from beginning to end is. And that is detailing at the end. And the reason to detail it at the end is because no matter how hard you try in a body shop environment, you're going to get some kind of debris or dust or something inside the customer's car. You know
Over
what I
and
mean?
over again.
Yeah, and I mean we try. Like it's not like I don't try.
No.
But I mean it's also one of those ones where when you tape out the car and you do whatever, cool, then you're working on it. And then you got to move it. So then they open the tape and then you move it and then you get there and then, oh, did the guy forget to tape it back up before he started set?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so many flying particles, regardless. It helps, but it's not going to cure the problem.
Yeah. I mean, it does. It really does need to be at the end. And I think that goes for a lot of businesses in this niche market, right? Like if you're dealing with cars and everything else. So, perfect example is let's say you take your car over to a tent shop and the guys are doing tent. Well, I know you're going to be working inside my car. I know you're going to be cutting tent. I know you're going to be doing all that stuff, right? You still need to clean up at the very end. Same thing. I think one of the worst is actually stereo guys, right? I don't know if you've ever had a stereo done or whatever, but they always leave like the little clippings or you know what I mean? Well, it's all over the floor.
Even going back to the window tint guys, they're not detailed people to the point where their spray, whatever it is, brand of spray they use, it drips down onto your panels, and now and they don't redress it. Now you have drip lines.
Yeah.
And if they leave it, it discolors it.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like the thing is you can get away. It's sad, but you can get away with it a lot of times on most vehicles. Right. Or on like, let's say most people car, like say a teenager brings you his Honda Civic. Honestly, dude, I'm telling you, there's probably cans in the floorboard. Yeah. There's probably, you know what I mean, his whatever bullshit in the back seat. So you can get away with stuff like that. But just because you can get away with it, I don't think you should try to make it like, you know what I mean? Like it needs to be. And I think it's something that needs to be kind of more paid attention to in the realm of people that are working on cars and everything else that like, hey, dude, like that is somebody's vehicle. You know what I mean? And to some people, it's just a vehicle, but to other people, it could be an extension of themselves. No. And I always find that if you try to just make it a habit of doing things a certain way, that then when you need to elevate yourself to a higher level, it's a lot easier to bring it to that next level than not ever doing it at all and then trying to expect to then hit a super high end level. No. And what I mean by that is like, let's say somebody brings in a Honda Civic, like who I was talking about the kid, right? And you're just like, and you don't pay attention to it, whatever. And then all of a sudden you get a client that brings you like a McLaren. Well, if you aren't doing it on the Honda Civic, you're now trying to do it on the McLaren because you're like, oh, holy shit, I'm now touching this. But the problem is your level at which you're trying to pay attention isn't the same as if somebody was already paying attention before.
You already built bad habits.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're trying to all of a sudden incorporate a new habit. It doesn't work.
Yep.
It doesn't hold.
No.
Because you don't pay attention to the finer details.
Yeah, because it's almost like you don't know what you're supposed to know until you know it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's that. So anyway, that's a little bit about Richard. And then he'll be kind of doing more of the podcast stuff with me moving forwards, just because he doesn't have a choice. He gets stuck here recording it anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm here all the time now.
Yeah. So he might as well come in and give his 2 cents on what he sees or whatever. As more of like an outsider on the inside, let's say. Yeah. And what I mean by that is you can observe it and you've been around and you're kind of watching what we were doing and you watched other shops and you've been around doing other stuff, but you're not necessarily you haven't actually painted or done body work or whatever, but you have seen it from multiple different angles and especially behind the camera.
Yeah.
So I like having kind of that outside but inside point of view.
Yeah.
We could say.
All right. So, what about you?
Well, for me, if you don't know,
they hear you talking all the time, but
Yeah, I know you hear me talking all the time. For those that have already watched me forever, you guys know that I pretty much started not knowing a whole lot of anything. I mean, I had worked and messed around on a little bit of cars and did, stereo work and shit in my backyard when I was younger. Right. And then going back a handful of years ago, I actually started trying to open up a Harley shop. And in doing the Harley shop, I opened it up with somebody that was actually went to MMI, certified, did, all this stuff. And we started doing that. And then that kind of led into paint. Right. So what ended up happening was when we first started our shop, the first bike that we actually kind of built together was a Sportster. Right. Everybody, why is it a Sportster? Well, because I bought it from the auction for like $2,000 and it was like a 2014 Sportster. And I think we were in like 2015, 2016 at the time. Right. So it was a newer bike. Yeah. Which the bike value, if it was new, should have probably been $8,000 to $10,000. You know what I mean? So I got it for $2,000. The front end was all smashed and everything else, which actually, if you go way back, it's actually still on the page. You can find it. Like, just go way back. Like, just keep scrolling. But anyway, so we got that. And then we're putting it together. We got a tank and we got some other things. We had sourced new risers and bars and, the whole thing, put the bike together. And then Adam, at the time was like, hey, the only thing that we haven't done to this thing is paint it, right? Because we had raw tank because the tank was messed up and whatever. And at the time he had done like a little bit of paint work on his bike. And he's like, well, I can paint it with rattle can. And I was like, well, I don't want to paint shit. I don't want to paint a fucking thing because I've tried it before when I was younger and I made runs and shit all over the place. But I do know a little bit about paint and I'll do the body work and I'll do the prep work and I'll do all that. Okay. So that's how we did our first one. And I made so many mistakes on the first bike. It was hilarious. So like to begin with, when I sanded the tank, I sanded the tank metal with like wet sanding. It was 600, right? So way too smooth. There's no grit. Knowing now I should have sanded it with 80 grit and that'd have been done. So anyway, I did that. Then we did the primer on top. Okay. Well, we did primer it. I just wet sanded the primer to 2,500 grit. The primer. So you could technically, you could take this tank, bro, and you could look down the side of it and there's no orange peel. There's no nothing. It's super shiny in the tank. You can see a perfect reflection, right? So we did that. Then we went ahead and we sprayed the color over the top of it. And again, I wet sanded the shit out of that. So spray can, 0 orange peel. This spray can paint job. And this is kind of what got me to where I am now and I'll get to it about not buying the best products right away, right? You don't need it. Yeah. So we did this whole thing. We sprayed it. I wet sanded it. It came out absolutely flawless. Now, the paint's probably not still sticking on it right now, right? Because everything was too good. But as far as like the overall look, it came out immaculate. So then we got that done. And we actually raffled that bike off. And when we were raffling the bike off, another customer came in and was like, oh, well, you guys paint. And I'm like, well, no, but we did that. And if you like that, I know I can reduplicate it. So then we went from there. We bought the first actual professional, I would call it, gun, which was actually the 3M PPS gun, which was the original PPS gun, not the brand new 2.0. Which that one, it has like little tabs that go and click on and do any. Anyway, so we did that. And the next one happened to be a full bagger. So now you got 10 times as many pieces, right? So it was a full bagger. And on top of it, it was a candy green paint job. Absolute fucking nightmare. Again, I still wasn't fucking wanting to grab the gun and do anything because I was like, I don't want to fucking make runs. I don't want to fuck up. All right. Well, we're going through. I must have fucking sanded I don't know how many runs and resanded shit I don't know how many times, because the problem, if anybody has ever painted a candy green, there is no I'm going to fuck it up and fix it. Like, if you fuck up a candy green, the new color that you try to lay on top, it will not match. It will not match. It will not look the same. So basically you have to resand and paint the whole part over again. Okay. So at this point, I have now gotten to the point to where I'm like, fuck this. I didn't want to sand runs or whatever in the first place because I was worried about making them. And now I'm doing it for somebody else and he's not even having to say, fuck this. So then I'm like, all right, fine, fuck it. I'm like, we finished it. We got it done. After that, the next bike that we did was a Deuce. And you can go back and you can see this one too. We got this Deuce from the auction. It was same thing. Front end was smashed. We put like 41 millimeter front forks out of a bagger and did some other stuff on it. And that one is actually the first paint job that I did basically on my own from beginning to end paint wise. Adam did some body work and stuff on it, which was his first time doing body work, on that one. And it was pretty cool. We did like a 2-tone blue, and everything else. And then after that, it just kind of snowballed.
Yeah.
One into the next. So, and that would bring me to kind of where I was saying, like, the funny thing is for me, anytime I'd ever tried anything, so when I tried to do airbrushing or when I tried to, I don't know, anything like go running or like play basketball or whatever it was that I was doing, I was always like, ooh, I would watch my YouTube videos and I would do whatever. And I'd watch these guys like, oh, the Iwata LPH 400 best spray gun ever, lays stuff down. Well, I would then go, never picking up a gun before, right? I would go buy that and then get frustrated when it didn't work. And the funny thing is the paint is the first thing that I didn't do that on, because like I said, we started with rattle can.
Yeah.
And it slowly kind of evolved. I mean, now, do I have an Iwata? Do I have a DV1? Yes, I do. And now I can see the differences in the guns versus when I started. I'm still not good enough for the gun. I mean, realistically, the gun, how much it can actually perform is still better than where my skill level is.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to a point to where it's kind of what I do and it's my life. And I don't mind dropping $1,000 or whatever on a gun. Mainly, dude, honestly, simply because I like the fucking gun. I could go to Home Depot and buy the Black Widow. I mean, not Home Depot, but Harbor Freight. And buy, which actually I do have them. I have the Black Widow guns. And actually I could produce the same quality of paint job that I do with my Iwata. The only difference is how much work I would have to put in on the piece after it comes out of the paint booth.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. And honestly, until you get to that point to where you understand how you're laying your things and you can work and you can actually utilize that high-end gun, it's not worth it. It's really not.
Buying your product before your skill.
Yeah. But I mean, I think I do what a lot of people do. Like, okay, so like for instance, man, when you were first trying to I don't know, dude, you're fucking old. You're old like me. So Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever might not have been around then.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. But I do know
it was purely trial and error.
Okay.
There was no learn and then go do it.
Gotcha. Because I think that's what a lot of us do anymore. Like if you, like say you want to build a birdhouse, right? Well, instead of just getting some materials and cutting them and trying to make a birdhouse or going to the library and buying what I do, and I would think what most people do now is you go onto YouTube, how to build a birdhouse. And you watch videos, and you don't just watch one video, you watch probably 20 or 30 different videos, and then you take what you think. Mistake. Yeah.
Too much information.
Yeah. I agree with you there.
Now you're trying to take 10 different ways or 20 different ways and apply it to one project without even doing it the first time on your own.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. What
I found it bad for photography. Because there's this
Too
way,
much.
this way, this way, this way to doing it. And you're like, okay, I like this part, I like this part, this part. You try to merge it and it doesn't fit. You're just trying to put a square in a circle.
Sometimes, yes. But sometimes I feel by being exposed to so many different people's ways of doing things, you can kind of pick what you like and what you don't like, you know?
Yeah, you can, if it's not your first time.
Yeah, okay, true enough. Well, yeah, but I mean, even doing it your first time,
But now I go to YouTube, now that I know photography, now I know what to look for. I'm like, okay, that I could take and apply it to this to make this outcome.
Yeah.
But now if out the gate, when I was trying to learn all that, and I was hopping on YouTube, like what cameras to get, flooded with information, I got overwhelmed and I couldn't get what I needed.
And I agree with what you're saying there, as far as like, oh, well, this is the best camera, or you need to use this, or these are the lights, or that. I understand that. What I was talking more of isn't necessarily using YouTube for that. It was using YouTube to watch people actually build it or the way they do it, and watching different people. Like, perfect example would be like setting up your lights, right? Not necessarily what lights we're going to use or whatever, but how somebody may want to set it up this way, and then another person kind of does the same thing, but they do it slightly different this way because it's either speed or it's more convenient, or that's what I meant by watching.
Even like this right here, I'm gonna get nailed. For how I did this one right now.
Yeah, because you fucked up. You fucked up, bro. It is what
I didn't bring my diffuser, so we're overlit. You know, there's no shadow fall off on my face, so whoever's watching videography or podcast are gonna be like, yeah, they didn't light it right.
Yeah. And that's also because why? Because it's the first one. You brought your lights over, right? Why did you bring these lights?
This is my first kit I bought, and bought it by a knowledge.
Yeah, but not even that. What I'm saying though is this has been sitting in your closet
for 3 years. I bought this. This is my first light kit I bought, not knowing what I was buying. Once again, YouTube surfing. Oh yeah, I got a cool deal. This is the perfect setup. I bought it, used it once, put it in storage. It was not what I needed, not what I wanted. Once again, getting ahead of myself before I even knew anything about lighting.
Well, I did the same thing when I was doing airbrush. So when we did the paint on that Harley tank.
Okay, yeah, the
Sportster. No. Oh. This is going way back. This is going all the way back to the beginning. So instead of buying instead of buying like a cheap Amazon special airbrush, no, I had to get a fucking Badger airbrush because it was all fucking decked out and it's got the spare tank, and fucking thing was like $800, I think, just for the compressor and the tank, and then it's like another $200 or $400 for each fucking airbrush. So I'm in this thing like a fucking grand, $1,500, and I don't even know how to use the dual action fucking airbrush. Right? So, and then long story short is, the shitty part is I still have the actual airbrush unit, like the compressor and stuff, and I still use it. So I'm actually glad that I bought that.
Yeah.
But as far as like the airbrushes, oh bro, the brushes that I bought, I actually wish I had now. They were really, really nice. But of course, when they were brand new, I didn't really know how to clean them, take care of them correctly. No. I got tip dry all the time. If you don't know what tip dry is, it happens on airbrushes because it's a dual action, right? But because the orifice is so small out of the airbrush, the paint will actually dry on the very end of the needle. And then what happens is now you have a hole, you know, say so you can see it. Say the hole's this big and say my needle's this big, right? So when I pull back, it allows paint to go through, and when I go forward, it stops it, right? Well, because the paint dries on the end of it, now instead of you going like this, now it's going like this, and it just starts spitting paint. right? So no big deal. You clean it, you do whatever. Well, like I said, not being experienced, I'm just taking it. Well, the fucking needle on this thing's super fucking fine, right? And the correct way to do it is go get yourself like the women's makeup sponges, and you can wet those and you just kind of like dab it in there. Right? And it'll clean it off. Well, fuck, I don't know that shit. So I'm taking napkins and paper towels and I'm bend the fuck out of the needle. So now it does. So anyway, so you know what I mean? So yeah, I should have just started, like you said too, started
I think
cheap and found out if I actually enjoyed it. And I think that's the thing. Find out if I actually enjoyed it. Because I think what happens is a lot of times you watch stuff on YouTube and you're like, oh, that's fucking cool. I want to do it.
Yeah, well, that's why I go back to the time of...
What'd you do?
I'm just double checking it. Make sure everything's going.
Still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm going to keep it in. It's raw. It's the first one. I don't care.
No, I just want to make sure it's still recording.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
No,
So-
I'm a big believer, even though today is all about DIY on YouTube.
DIY?
DIY, right?
Yeah. Do it yourself.
DIY. Oh, yeah, DIY. All right. I don't believe in it because the apprenticeship was a thing for a reason.
Yes.
It saved you from having to spend so much money of like, oh, I want to have the best one, best this, best that. Well, now you're getting thrown into a shop. Let's just say, for instance, body shop, right? Which I was around body shops in my detail days, but I wasn't out there buying the newest, coolest stuff because I didn't have YouTube telling me like, oh, this is the newest, coolest thing to do. This far exceeds your skill. So just buy this, you'll be a pro. And then you get it and you destroy the product. You destroy your money.
Yeah.
Rather than just apprenticing to a shop and actually becoming a nobody. Like my very first detail job, I hired in as I'm a nobody. I'm 100% school right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was getting paid, so luckily I fit my way into the job, but I should have apprenticed at a shop.
Yeah, and they did kind of take apprenticeships away, which I think is
Yeah.
bad. And the other thing that I liked about I never got a chance, but the other thing I think I would have liked would have been the fact that when you're apprenticing, the guys in there that are getting ready to put all that knowledge and stuff in you are actually judging if you have if it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing. Like, dude, I think being now that I'm 40 something years old, I think the one thing that I've learned though too is just because you want to do something,
It's different from doing it.
yeah, and I think that's where I'm getting at though too, man. Start cheap. Start as cheap as you can. I don't give a fuck what you're into. Like, just do it cheap because
Go to Walmart, go to Harbor Freight, get the cheapest thing you buy, and find your mistakes there.
Well, yeah, not even just the mistakes, but find out if you actually want to do it. Because I think one of the problems with the way things work today is the fact that you could, okay, so let's go back to before cell phones. And let's go back to a car meet. And you go to car meets. Either you did it and you knew what a carburetor was, you knew what your fuel injection system was, you knew what a radiator was, you knew how, like, either you did or you didn't. And the reason you would have known is either because you were out with your dad or your buddies and you're actually getting your hands dirty and you're doing it, right? Or you didn't.
Yeah.
The problem is now you can go to a car meet, or even here, dude, it's amazing how many people will come into the shop and will start rattling off all kinds of information. Like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And technically, yeah, you know it because you have, and I think that's the difference between book smarts and
I
actual
don't think it's called
doing
knowing.
it.
I would say you're aware of what this particular product is called.
Well, no, you have knowledge. To me, it's dude. To me, it's no different than going to school and sitting in school and watching them do everything on a PowerPoint. Great, you have all this fucking knowledge. That's great. You know all about it, but you don't know shit because you've never actually done it.
No.
And I think that's the biggest problem. And the biggest problem, I think, kind of like going with you with the YouTube and everything else, is like I said, you can sit there and with the knowledge being so free at your fingertips, you can watch and learn whatever you want. But there's a big difference between learning it and doing it. And I think that's where you need to, like I said, start cheap and do it with all the knowledge that
Yeah.
you got and that you learned, but then find out if you're actually going to enjoy it. Because the one thing that I've learned from doing the bike and painting and everything else, dude, you have to have some kind of passion in it, something that'll keep you going and whatever, because
there's gonna be a lot of defeats.
Yeah, a lot of defeats, a lot of fuck ups. And then a lot of time of like, dude, just waking up and going, do I really want to go sand again in the fucking shop for fucking 14 hours in the fucking heat? There's no air conditioning.
No. My very first time I acid washed a car, which was my own car. I didn't tell you about this one.
No.
I didn't know nothing about acid washing. Well, I was like, oh, cool, I could acid wash, get the water spots out of the car. No big deal. I don't need a cut and buff like they say to do. Well, I acid washed in the sun, first of all, let the water dry. Completely just, what is it called? The clear coat.
You etched it. Yeah.
Yeah, I etched it, the whole car. And then I actually started working at the shop, learned how to acid wash, became a professional acid washer. And then I didn't know that you can't acid wash aluminum. That's when I bleached a Corvette's rims.
Ooh, I bet that wasn't cheap.
No, we saved it by bleaching the rest of the rims to match. So, customer didn't pay attention to his car. He thought it was a pretty good job, so it rolled out. But never again.
Yeah.
Don't ever acid wash.
No, not aluminum. And well, that's the, and it's the other thing is like, you don't know till you know. Mm-hmm. Like same thing with like sanding with the wrong grits. The only thing I knew about paint when I first started was orange peel looks like shit. Like that's all it was, dude, was orange peel looks like shit. How do I keep orange peel from being in my
out
paint?
Of your primer too?
Yeah, out of my primer, and it was funny because like I said, dude, like I spent probably years. Now, I wasn't sanding everything at 3,000, right? But I got past that really quick. But I spent probably years worrying about how smooth everything had to be until I did the fucking crushed glass paint job. That paint job right there changed my whole fucking concept about everything with a 2-stage paint. I'll say a 2-stage paint because single stage, that's a different animal.
Yeah.
Single stage, yeah, everything better be as smooth as you go because you're not burying it.
Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to go on top. You're not burying it. But with a 2-stage paint job, dude, anymore, I mean, the only thing that really matters, unless you're doing a candy, right? Candy is a different story because the candy paint itself is translucent, right? But other than that, dude, the only thing that matters for your eyes is your very last top layer. It's the only thing that fucking matters. So like I see it a lot of times, man.
So when you're talking about crushed glass, was it this particular last job?
No, it was before that. I did one before it. So, and it was actually on YouTube, right? Actually, I didn't come up with the idea. I was fucking surfing and this guy was fucking painting and he didn't do a bike or anything. It was on like a fucking skateboard, right? And he was selling the glass, right? If you want to know who it is, let me know and I'll go fucking grab the
YouTube link.
Yeah, and I'll put because I can grab the material that I bought, like who I bought from or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that was the guy that did it. Anyway, and they did a fucking skateboard, and he was talking about how like he's 3rd generation or 2nd generation or whatever, and there's nothing quite like crushed glass. And I was like, well, fuck, let me take a look. It looks fucking cool. Let me take a look. And honestly, he was fucking right. There's nothing quite like crushed glass. And it's also an absolute pain in the ass to work with. You know what I mean? It is.
And pretty expensive.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason it's expensive is because you have to bury the shit out of it. Yeah. Right?
Well, clear coat.
That's what I'm saying.
How many layers of clear coat on this last job you did?
Fuck. 7.
And we're talking about Project Galaxy.
Yeah. So that was the first round of clear coat was 7 coats. 7 coats of clear coat. And that was probably like medium wet coats. I wasn't wetting the shit out of it because that coat and the next coat is the most important coats to not get runs in, right? Because if you get a run in that first one or the second one, it's going to be in the whole entire project and you can't fucking get rid of it because it's literally in there with glass, right? You're fucked. So like I said, medium wet, not trying to gloss it out, not worrying about it. Cause for one, I already knew it's going to look like shit. You can go back and you can see it looks like hammered shit. It's just all over the place. It's bumpy, but I mean, hell, we're putting a couple mil thick shards of glass on top of something.
You mix big shards and small shards.
Yes.
So the big ones are pretty big. And then when you're sanding it, you're pulling them out. If you don't bury
some of them.
If you didn't bury it enough.
Yep. Some of them come out. And so anyway, so like I said, the first one was 7 coats. Then you sanded it down the first, and then so sanding, I'll tell you guys. So the first one, it got sanded with 400 dry sand.
I'm just double check. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, I'll wait. Because I don't want to keep going if it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to have to come up with a solution. How we're going to do a double back. I'm going to have to do an external monitor next time.
Yeah, we could do that.
I'm going to hit off and on real quick.
All right. Hey, because hell, what we could do.
Everything looks good.
You going?
Yeah.
What we could do is we could technically take that computer, put the computer over here, because computer monitor everything in one, and then just put it up over there, and then that way we can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so it was the 7 coats on the first one, and then that one you're going to want to dry sand with 400 grit. Okay. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you got to do 600. Yeah. And I know you don't do 600 because the first one I tried to dry sand with 600. Hey, all right. Sounds good. Lunchtime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you going?
Huh?
Where are you going? Oh, he's going with his wife. Yeah, his wife's picking him up. So the very first one that I did, I wet sanded or dry sanded with 600. And you can't wet sand it in the very beginning because it's crushed glass and it's a natural product. So if you get it wet, it will tarnish, and it's going to tarnish over time anyway. But if you get it wet, and some of them get wet and some of them don't, then it's going to look like shit in the future because you're going to have spots that are tarnished and spots that aren't. But anyway, so you're going to sand it with 400, and you're going to dry sand it with 400 for the first initial one, and that's to cut everything down. If you go to 600, it just fucking takes too long. 600 doesn't fucking sand for shit. It doesn't. So use 400, knock it all fucking down. Then I did another 3 coats of clear. That one I then hit with 400 again. Then after that we shot black. Shoot black. Yeah. Then after that I taped it off and I shot the black where everything was. Did another 2 coats of clear. So that's 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now we're at 15 coats of clear for the black. And then I had to do the white pinstripe lines. So then and then now we're sanding at 600. Still dry sanding, but sanding at 600 because I have color on it now. So then that was another 2 coats of clear for the white. So that's 15, 16, 17. Then I sanded that down. Then I did a final 3 coats of clear because I went back with black, and wherever the white pinstripes were,
That's right, yeah.
I touched it up, and we got a final 3 coats of clear. And the final clear I did with House of Colors because I want to let it out. So we got 17, 18, 19, so almost 20 coats of clear, right? But also keep in mind, I'm sanding in between each one of these. So even though I say I put on 2 coats or 3 coats, if I put on 2 coats, I probably only got maybe 1 coat of clear left before I go to the next. A lot of the times, the reason I was doing 3 coats is because I wanted to sand it. I only have about 1.5 coats of clear.
And that's why it's expensive.
Yes, that's why it's expensive. That's why it's time consuming. And also, which is what I told the customer in the very beginning, because it is custom paint and the manufacturers do not condone what we're doing. You're not supposed to stack this stuff this high, right? Which is also what I told the customer too before I even did it. I'm like, look, it looks great and it's awesome. You have to be very careful and everything else because it does have the potential to crack.
No,
it's almost like building up Bondo too high.
Yeah.
Right. You're a lot of fucking product, and there's no way around it. But that's also, that's part of doing custom paint. You're going outside the lines of what the manufacturer's telling you how to use the product and whatever. But it's like, I've used the product so much. That's also like the initial 7 coats, right? So when you read the thing, it's like, okay, well, you can do, your second coat in say 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah, but if I'm stacking them 7 coats deep on my first one, I'm actually waiting probably 10, 15. And honestly, my last 2 coats were about a half hour in between.
Okay.
Right. And the reason is because you're building up so much clear that if you build up too much too fast, you're going to get solvent pop all over it. And basically what solvent pop is it's the off gases.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you spray it on, it has to dry off and it off gases. Well, if you bury that shit too fast before it off gases, the gas is going to go somewhere.
So what happens?
It goes out through the top and you get little, like, it almost looks like
Pores.
Yeah. Pores or like little bumps all in your paint and it'll be all over the place. And that's basically,
that's actually a misstatement because already paint is a pore, right? There's always
pore
pores.
Is substance. Yes.
So basically you're getting like a black or white head in your pore and it clogs it basically. And then it widens it out, makes it bigger.
So it would be like, honestly, it would be like as if somebody took a bunch of dirt and just threw dirt on top of it. But instead of it being like a brownish or a darkish color, it would just be clear. That's kind of what it looks like. Because what's happening is you have all these different layers of clear and you have the gas going up through it, and it's small little particles of gas that are going up through it and then they go. Well, then also what happens is when it goes, it moves it away and the clear is already hardening at this time as well. So it doesn't flow back and cover that back up, So if you ever get that stuff, man, like, just give yourself more time and like, especially with painting, the biggest thing is find out what your recoat window is first, right? So like let's say we're dealing with PPG because I use that a lot. Say we're dealing with PPG and their shop line, right? That line down there, or even their water base. When you do your initial base coat, you generally have about 24 hours to be able to put another product back on and that product still stick to it, right? Because there's two ways that paint stick to each other. It's either chemical or it's mechanical, right? And then you just read it, man. And temperatures and if you guys actually want to know more about paint, I can go more in depth, but I think I've already I think I'm getting pretty deep in paint already.
This is just kind of basically who we are and our fuck ups in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got where we're at.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that's good for the first one. If you guys want us to talk about anything,
leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. Let us know. I think next week, one thing I do kind of want to talk about is how expensive cars use shitty products.
We'll talk about the
Maserati. Yeah, it is what it is. So, but anyway, have fun cutting and editing and doing all that fun stuff that you do.
Hopefully not too much. Hopefully it's just literally
hopefully not. Yeah.
Stitch it together from the mess up I had earlier.
What I will say is I know you're a little bit newer to being behind the camera, right? And I think if we watch a lot of podcasts, what we actually need to work on is not looking at each other so much. I already know you're there.
Yeah.
Just look at everybody.
Well, actually, this is
out in TV land.
This is a weird setup. actually. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
We should do a table. It'd be better, but we'll figure it out.
Why? So we could be like Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
He's actually got a pretty cool podcast. I like. some of the
I
shit
like his
that's on
room. We need to repaint the room. Do you know a painter?
Nope. Fucking dope. I don't know a house painter. It's totally different.
Dude, we should paint the room, man.
Oh shit. I don't know. Well, you got to get that, dude. I
Paint
have
it black.
Oh fuck no.
You know how beautiful that would be for a film.
No. If I was gonna paint it black, I'd get black lights and put black lights in here and shit. You know, I did that when I was.
No, I'm telling you, like we'll get.
No, when I was in the
here.
military, bro. When I was in the military, I had black lights. I had, you know, you can take like your used alcohol bottles, fill them up with water, and then use the highlighter.
I know, but no.
Okay, so check this out. If you're a young kid and you want to see some cool shit in your room, go to Home Depot, get yourself an 8-inch fucking black light. Put the 8-inch black light in, and then go get a Crown Royal bottle or whatever your fucking parents.
Yeah, your parents
are drinking, and go get it, and basically go to the water faucet. Take whatever color highlighter you want, but yellow works the best. Take a yellow highlighter, break it open, and actually get the inside of the highlighter.
Yeah.
Take it and run the water through the highlighter, and even leave the highlighter in the water for a little while. Close it. When you turn the black light on, it'll reflect that yellow, blue, green, whatever highlighter fluid inside whatever bottle or container you want to put
it. It kind of reminds me of back in the day when those posters were black light, but
I had those
mushrooms
too.
And all that.
Oh, I had those too. I had the Bob Marley ones.
Yeah.
And you fucking color them. Oh, dude, I had all that shit. I had all that shit when I was in the fucking military. It was awesome.
I would have to show them your Bob Marley haircut.
Oh, well, dude, no, it's on. If you want to see it, it's simple. If you want to see it, dude, all you have to do is scroll back, right? Scroll back. The great thing is I'm not a professional at shit. I fucked up a whole lot, and you can see it.
And you don't erase it like most people?
No, I don't see what the point is in erasing it. It is who I am.
All mine's original.
Yeah, it's
all there.
Yeah, every mistake I fucking made, dude. Go ahead, pick them apart. I've already done it myself multiple times. So whatever.
I can't wait to like 100 podcasts in and be like, dude, the first one sucked.
Yeah, that's all right.
Like we keep looking at each other.
Yeah,
still.
it's because of him. It's all because of Richard. Richard fucked everything up. I don't know what to tell you. I'm Brian.
Oh no. Hey, leave a comment what color you think the podcast room should be.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, dude. It's not gonna happen. It's
I
not
think
gonna
we
get
should.
painted. I don't know. Well, we'll find out. Honestly, it all depends on how many people fucking actually interact with this stupid shit.
I don't know. Hopefully.
So, hopefully. Yeah. But, hey, main thing is actually, dude, if you have something that you actually want to know my thoughts on, let me know what it is, and I'll let you know what my thoughts are. So, and then,
all right.
Yeah, go from there.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. What are we getting for lunch? I'm Brian. Oh, dude, Hector left early.